Dr. Insano. What can you say about him other than he's insane? Spawned out of a throwaway joke, Insano has taken on a life of his own, like all good characters do. Of course, there has been a sort of overexposure backlash, and Spoonie One himself has said that people have complained that they just don't get Insano. Well, that's kind of because there's nothing to get. He's an embodiment of the mad doctor supervillain cliche. With that said, you're probably wondering why I picked him as a subject of a familiar face. After all, the character is well known. But even then, Dr. Insano has managed to generate quite a mythos in such a small amount of time. For example, if you're like me, you may have noticed something interesting in the 2-year anniversary epic, Kick-Assia.
Hey, you look familiar. Aren't you that doctor guy?
What? No, I mean, I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah. You're always trying to take over the world and stuff.
No, I mean, I swear I don't.
No. You got the goggles and the...
No! I mean, okay, I was before, but that was the past.
Okay, I'm going to ignore you now.
That's right, there were numerous incidents where people recognized Spoonie as Dr. Insano. Now, I know that you're probably thinking, this isn't right. Spoonie and Insano are two different people. Well, there's a long and short answer. The short answer is no. And the long answer is no, Spoonie and Insano are actually 3 different people. Let me explain as we take a look at the various origins of Dr. Insano. The way I see it, after years of reviewing bad movies and video games, Spoonie's mental trauma produced 2 split personalities, the malevolent Dr. Insano and the indifferent Spencer D. Bum. 3 personalities, completely unaware of each other and all acting separate from each other. Spoonie continued to review bad entertainment, while Dr. Insano tried to take over the world and would later become an arch nemesis to Linkara. And Spencer D. Bum, who just bummed around. That is until Spoonie's review of Final Fantasy I, when Spoonie was driven so mad that he dedicated his life to controlling time. It was then at that point that the future Dr. Insano traveled back in time to give himself the time compression remote. This caused a ripple in time and space, producing 2 Dr. Insanos. The Dr. Insano that was still just a personality of Spoonie One Prime, and a fully developed Time Warp Insano, which due to the years of crippling calculations it took to produce the compression technology, and the trauma suffered from the experience of time travel, had lost all connection to his former personality, which acted as a mental anchor for himself just as much as he provided an outlet for Spoonie One's insanity. This Dr. Insano tried to help Spoonie with his time compressor, but S1 Prime displayed his usual award-winning snark towards his bitter half.
How do you even make shit like this up? When you make this guy look like a legitimate scientist, you have got some serious fucking problems.
Hey, I'm completely legitimate. Look, I've even got a real stethoscope now and everything. Bah, I'll show you legitimate.
After being spurred, Insano then hired Squall to assassinate Spoonie, thereby ridding the world of the last remnants of his former self. As you know, Squall succeeded to kill Spoonie One Prime, who would later return as Black Lantern Spoonie in the Linkara Spoonie crossover Darkest Night, only to be resurrected, then killed, then somehow resurrected again, and then killed again, and is once again the Black Lantern Spoonie. But before all that, Linkara used DNA from Spoonie One Prime to not only clone a new Spoonie, but 2 other clones of his split personalities, Insano and Spencer, who now reside with Spoonie in his new home.
It's a rare condition this day and age to read any good news on the newspaper page. And love and tradition of the grand design, some people say it's even harder to find. Well, then there must be some magic clue inside these gentle walls. 'Cause all I see is a tower of dreams, real love bursting out of every scene. As days go by, we're gonna fill our house with happiness. The moon may cry, but we'll smother the blues with tenderness. As days go by,
This new Dr. Insano continues his plans for world conquest, but seems a lot more docile than the original, occasionally chiming in on whatever project Spoonie has going. This is no doubt the work of Linkara, who must have seized the opportunity to tweak his nemesis's personality when he was reprogramming him. But it turns out this is one of the best things that could have happened to Spoonie. With a new clone of Dr. Insano around, Spoonie is able to repress all of those factors that made him Insano in the first place, by actually seeing how crazy Dr. Insano is. And as you saw in Kick-Assia, Spoonie was reluctant to summon the Dr. Insano that he knows is lurking within him. I mean, can you blame him? I mean, he's got one Dr. Insano in an unknown location who still wants him and probably his new clones dead, and another one hanging around his house. So there's no way he'd want another one. That is until the Nostalgia Critic goes mad with power after taking over Molossia, and the group needs him to summon Dr. Insano and fight the Critic.
Send the maniac to catch her.
Of course, this Insano seems to be just as bad as the original one, and of course tries to double-cross everybody.
Of course!
Which would probably explain why Linkara was so nervous to have a second Insano, an Insano he couldn't control to help him boost his book sales. But like always, this Insano eventually reverted back into Spoonie 1-2. So, in summation, there are currently 3 Dr. Insanos in our universe. The newly developed split personality of Spoonie 1 Beta, the Spoonie 1 clone Insano who's living with Spoonie, and the Time Warp Insano.
Everybody got that?
So I hope that straightens out a few things about our fiendish friend, Dr. Insano. But there's one thing that bugs me. If there's a Black Lantern Spoonie running around, you don't think